So we now have episode 9 of WandaVision. This is our series finale, and of course this episode is called the series finale. Now, if you have not seen this episode, you don't want to get anything spoiled for you, do not watch this review, because this review is going to contain full spoilers for the episode. So, you've been warned. So we finally have the finale for WandaVision, and there's been so many questions that people have been asking throughout the entire series, and so many questions we got, or answers we got, weren't as satisfying as the theories that were put out there. And that has nothing to do with the show. That's not the show's fault whatsoever. It's the fan base creating all these speculatory questions, wondering what's going to happen. For me, I thought White Vision was actually going to turn out to be Ultron. I was disappointed when White Vision wasn't Ultron. I had my Ultron shirt on and everything. Even people were thinking that the aerospace engineer was going to be Reed Richards. Didn't turn out to be Reed Richards. Paul Bettany has been, like, since episode 1 or 2, even before the series actually started, I think, has been saying that there's been a mystery cameo that he's just been surprised hasn't got out. There's been an actor he's been wanting to work with his entire life. It's the White Vision. The actor he's wanted to work with his whole life has been himself, which in a way is fucking hilarious. This joke went on so far that it just revealed that the person he was talking about was himself. The director of the show actually came out this week and says Paul Bettany has just done this to himself. Even Paul Bettany has come out and said, okay, it was me. I just didn't realize the joke was going to go as far as it actually went. So in that kind of aspect, it's pretty funny, but it's also quite disappointing because every week I'm thinking, okay, is a mystery guy going to come in next week? Is he going to come in the week after? I thought that, so that was disappointing. All the theories and everything that came up in my head just seemed so amazing. I was really excited to see them. In fact, we didn't even see them. I was even expecting to see. I just assumed we'd see Doctor Strange. We didn't even see Doctor Strange. So there's just so much here that people wanted to see that we actually didn't even get to see. But what we saw in this episode alone, it was cool. It picked up right from where episode 8 finishes. Agatha and Wanda are fighting. It's revealed that why Agatha is doing this, which is actually surprised that Agatha was actually the big bad of the series. I was expecting her to be working for, say, a Mephisto. Didn't actually happen. But the reason Agatha is doing what she's doing is because she is able to take Witch's powers, and she wants to take Wanda's powers because she knows Wanda isn't able to use her powers the way they should be. So she's going to take Wanda's powers and then use them as her own. It's a good plan, but of course we know it's not going to work. But it's revealed though that the White Vision has been able to get inside the Hex. I don't know how the White Vision's able to get inside the Hex, but the White Vision is inside the Hex. Wanda sees him and she thinks, oh my god, Vision, that's you. Vision goes up, says Wanda, puts her hands in her cheek, and I was thinking, okay, so White Vision does have memories. I wasn't expecting that. All of a sudden he goes to crush her skull, which looked horrible. Like, imagine Wanda's perspective. Everything she's gone through, all she wanted was Vision back. She sees Vision right there in front of her, and his immediate reaction is to try and squish her head. Absolutely brutal to see that, but then that does lead to Vision versus Vision, which is the big, more action-packed battle throughout this entire episode, where you see Vision versus Vision, and because they have the same powers, they're literally going in through each other, putting their arms to each other, using the laser from the Mind Stone that Vision has, but he doesn't really have. Just, it was pretty cool to see Vision fully go out and fully use his powers against someone, because when we haven't really seen Vision fight to the extent, because in Age of Ultron we see him fight against Ultron, but we don't really get to see a lot of him fighting. And in Civil War he tones his powers back massively because he's against friends, and then in Infinity War we don't really get to see him fighting. So in this episode, I think this is the best we've ever actually seen Vision fighting, because he goes full on out fighting himself, which leads to a pretty cool action scene. Also, Wanda and Agatha's fight scene isn't as action-packed as you'd like to see. It's a lot more of them talking, a lot more of them arguing, and it did play out for a good effect. But we do know that we knew that Wanda is actually the one controlling the Hex. She's the one who's doing all this, so Agatha releases everyone's minds from the Hex, so they are all able to be themselves. They all come up to Wanda and they're all like screaming, just let me go, let me go. Even Dottie comes up, who I was assuming Dottie would be more of a character, as in like a superhero or supervillain, rather than just being some ordinary character. But she comes up to Wanda in a quite a heartbreaking speech, where it's revealed that Dottie actually has a daughter, but Wanda is leaving her daughter trapped in a room. Dottie is begging her, saying, I just want to hold my daughter again. Can she be maybe the bully at the school, or can she be friends with your boys? I just want to hold her again. Leading to such a quite heartbreaking scene that Wanda is actually putting these people in an absolutely horrible situation. And then it's also revealed that all it's not revealed, but everyone comes up to them saying, "Please let us go, please let us go." And then Wanda gets overwhelmed and she starts strangling them by the neck. They all fall to the ground. Wanda then lets them go, and then the woman from that 70 show said, "If you're gonna leave us here, just kill us. I'd rather be dead than being trapped in here." Then Wanda reveals, and she doesn't reveal. She opens the hex using all her power to open the hex. Everyone runs out of there, and then her two kids and Vision make their way to Wanda, and it's actually revealed finally that her boys cannot survive outside the hex. It's been one of those questions ever since they were revealed in the series episode 3, was that can these two boys survive outside the hex? But now we know that they cannot. They are not real. They are absolutely figments of Wanda's imagination, and that if this hex goes, so the boys go. So that was just another thing that we know. There's just so much more stakes here. It's not just losing Vision. She's losing her boys. The entirety of this reality she has created will be gone if she destroys the hex. So she does. She closed the hex down again. But when the hex opened up, Sword got in. Just those couple of seconds, Sword had been able to get in. Really, just honestly, I was kind of surprised how quickly they were able to get in there. Of course, they were obviously ready though, but they make their way to Wanda. A big massive battle is happening then between Wanda and Agatha. They are blasting each other with their powers. Wanda saying, or Agatha says, "I will create this world. I'll create this world perfect for you so that you and your family can live here in peace and no one's going to damage you again, because if you give me the powers, I know how to use them better than you do." So Wanda starts blasting her with her powers, assuming, and I was assuming that she was giving her powers, but I thought that was quite weird. But actually revealed what she was doing was creating kind of, I can't remember what they called it, but it was like a power dampener around the entire area, the same way what Agatha did to Wanda at the start of episode 8. So she had done that. Now Agatha's powers are useless and she's got no powers. And since she's got no powers, Wanda has the upper hand, and she does something that in a way seems worse than death, as what she did with Agatha, which I was really, really happy they didn't kill her. One of my worries was they were going to kill Agatha and then we wouldn't have Agatha anymore and we wouldn't have Kathryn Hahn, and I just think she's a fantastic character, fantastic actress, and I'm looking forward to seeing her come back. What they did was Wanda put kind of a hex on Agatha herself, and then making her Agnes again. And so on the outside it's Agnes completely. Agatha has no control, but she's still inside. As far as I know, I hope she didn't kind of erase her memory in a way, and it's kind of like with Doctor Who when he puts the chameleon on himself, where he thinks he is the guy from 1913 rather than knowing it's the Doctor. I kind of hope on the outside she can't do anything. I hope she is trapped in there like a cage, in making it more like a prison sentence for her. But Agatha is now living in that town, so if Wanda ever needs her and needs to go back to her, she knows where to get her. But we do see the two boys have stopped the Sword agents. Everyone has been frozen for some reason. I don't know exactly why they're frozen, but they are all frozen except for the director, Hayward, who we know now is a bad guy. He takes shots at the kids to kill them, but then of course you do have Monica gets in the way and she kind of absorbs the bullets. They get shot inside her and they just pass right through and fall to the ground. So I don't really know what Monica's powers are, but whatever they are, they seem pretty interesting. But while this is happening, Vision and Vision aren't really fighting much anymore. They're more discussing, because that's what Vision does. He's quite a smart guy, where he just looks at all the positives and negatives and he goes through it. But Vision hasn't, well, our Vision, the good Vision, has unlocked the memories of White Vision. So now White Vision is pretty much Vision, but he just doesn't have the emotional element. He has the memories of everything, but he doesn't emotionally know how to handle them, so he just flies off, and that's the last we see of him. I assume he's going to be in Doctor Strange 2, because of course Wanda's going to be in Doctor Strange 2, but I don't really know. But since Agatha's gone, since the General's gone, since White Vision's gone, Wanda knows what she has to do is take the hex down, which leads to quite a heartbreaking scene. She takes the hex down, but it's going down quite slowly. So Vision, Wanda and the boys make their way back home. Wanda and Vision put the kids to bed. She has a quite emotional scene, but then when she's saying that, "Thank you for choosing me as your mother, thank you for doing that," really, really sad. And then they go downstairs. Wanda and Vision say their goodbyes, which honestly, these people, the way they say goodbye all the time, is just heartbreaking. This is more heartbreaking than Infinity War, even though Infinity War she has to kill him and then she watches him die. But this one, the whole world is coming to an end and they're just holding each other. It's such an emotional, beautiful scene. And we will see Vision again. I imagine Wanda and Vision will be reunited again. But just a few other things that happen throughout the episode. We know who Pietro is. It's actually just, he is Ralph. He was just some random guy who lives in the town, which I thought that was quite disappointing. Everyone was thinking that he is connected to the X-Men universe, because why else would they get Evan Peters? But no, he's just some random guy, which I understand why, because I don't really think that's how they're going to open reality. But I did find it disappointing that he was just some random guy. Hopefully in the future it's revealed that he's not just some random guy. But as well, we do see at the end, we got some Wanda and Vision that got their separate ways. Wanda comes out at the end, she goes up to Monica, all the people are just staring at Wanda, and Wanda's like, they're never going to accept me for what I did, so she just flies off. And that's the end of the episode. But we do have 2 post-credit scenes. The first one I didn't love, but I thought the second was a lot better. The first one, a Skrull reveals herself to Monica, and then we find out that I'm assuming it's Nick Fury. The woman says he, so I'm assuming it's Nick Fury. She is looking for Monica to come up and help him with something, so we assume that's leading into Captain Marvel 2, or even the Secret Invasion, I want to call it, spin-off series with Nick Fury and Talos. I'm assuming it's either Nick Fury's show or Captain Marvel 2, whichever comes first. I imagine we'll see Monica. We know Monica is in Captain Marvel 2, but I assume maybe Secret Invasion in 2. And then the last one, which is really interesting, we see Wanda outside her cabin in the middle of nowhere just drinking tea, and then it zooms out to the back of the house and you see Wanda in her full Scarlet Witch outfit, which absolutely looks fantastic. Really, really like her Scarlet Witch costume. I hope she sticks with that for the time being rather than just the costume she's been having, because I didn't really like just a red jacket. This costume looks great, but she's sitting there and she's like twitching the same way I thought when Doctor Strange was looking through all the realities, all the different times they lost in Infinity War. She's twitching, looking at through the Darkhold, which really, really sets up what's going to happen in Doctor Strange and how she's going to rip up the reality. Because as she's doing it, you can hear kids calling out to her in the background. So I'm assuming, kind of like what they did in Into the Spider-Verse, where you had Wilson Fisk ripping through the realities and trying to find his wife and kids. I imagine this is how the reality is going to be ripped open. One is going to rip the reality open, looking for her kids, really, really setting up Doctor Strange 2. And I cannot wait to see how this show ties into Doctor Strange 2 as well. Spider-Man 2, it comes out this December. Hopefully it all comes out when it's meant to come out. Hopefully we won't have to wait even longer. But I'm just beyond excited to see how all this ties in to those 2 movies. But let me know your thoughts on WandaVision episode 9 in the comment section down below, and just the series as a whole. I thought the finale, I really, really enjoyed it. I just kind of thought my expectations were up here, and just the show delivered it about here. But the only reason it was up here is because my fan speculation. So if you take all that out of it, it was a solid finishing episode. It is the longest of the series. I feel like it just, at some parts it was rushed through, but as a whole, really, really enjoyed the episode. Really, really enjoyed WandaVision as a series. I'm really excited now to actually sit down and watch it again from episode 1 to episode 9. Just see, knowing what I know in episode 9, is there anything I'm going to notice in episode 1? If this is the caliber that Marvel is going to be setting up for all their shows, I am beyond excited. And if you want to hear my thoughts on future shows with Marvel, Falcon and the Winter Soldier drops not next Friday, but the Friday after. So if you want to hear my review and thoughts on that episode, make sure to click that subscribe button. And as always, thanks for watching.